There are places in the American South where the air is so heavy with humidity and history, it's hard to breathe. Blackwater Swamp is one of them. It's a sprawling, primordial maze of black, tannin-stained water, ancient cypress trees draped in Spanish moss, and thick, clinging mud that can swallow a man whole. During the day, it's a place of stunning, dangerous beauty. But at night, the swamp changes. It becomes a place of profound, disorienting darkness. And out in that darkness, an old evil waits. For generations, locals have passed down a simple warning, a piece of advice that is the difference between life and death. If you find yourself near the swamp after sundown and you see a single, lonely light bobbing in the distance, you turn and you walk the other way. You never follow the light of the lantern man. The story is always the same. A traveler on a lonely road bordering the swamp, or a fisherman who stayed out too late, sees it. A warm, yellow light, like an old kerosene lantern, swinging gently as if being carried by someone walking a path. It moves slowly, deliberately, through the densest parts of the swamp where there are no paths. It seems to promise safety, a sign of another person, a house in the distance. But it's a lie. Locals say that light has been appearing for at least 200 years. They say it's the ghost of a river pirate who drowned in the swamp, forever searching for his lost treasure. Others say it's something older, a nameless thing born of the swamp itself. What everyone agrees on is its intelligence. The light seems to know when it's being watched. It will hover patiently, just at the edge of the trees, seeming to wait for you. If you turn away, it might move a little closer, a little more insistently. If you try to get a picture of it, it will dim, as if a hand has been gently cupped around the flame. It is a lure. And its only purpose is to draw you off the solid ground and into the water and mud from which there is no escape. For a long time, the Lantern Man was just a story, a local boogeyman. Then, in 1923, the half-rotted satchel of a cypress logger named Elias Thorn was found snagged on a cypress knee, deep in a part of the swamp no one ever went to. Elias had vanished in the winter of 1888. Inside the satchel was his waterlogged journal. Most of it was ruined, but some of the last entries were preserved enough to be read. They tell a story that turned folklore into terrifying fact. The first legible entry described Elias seeing a light on his way back to camp. "Saw a fool out with a lantern," he wrote. "Must be lost. Called out but got no answer. He'll be gator food by morning." A few days later, his tone had changed. "Saw the light again. Same spot. Moves too fast for a man. Swamp gas, I reckon. Still, it is queer." The entries for the next week show Elias's growing unease. The light was no longer stationary. It seemed to be following him, keeping its distance during the day but appearing closer to his camp each night. "It's no gas," he wrote. "It plays games. It led me into a bog that nearly took my boots. I feel like I am being watched. The silence out here is different now. It is waiting." The final entry is almost illegible, the pencil strokes dug deep into the paper in a frantic scrawl. It was right outside my tent, the light, so bright. I heard her. I heard Mary's voice, clear as day, calling my name. She's been gone 5 years, but I heard her. She's lost out there. I have to go. The light will show me. Elias Thorn was never seen again. The account from Elias Thorn's journal confirmed what the legends had always whispered. The Lantern Man doesn't just use light, it uses sound. It is a mimic, a ventriloquist that preys on the most human of instincts. Fishermen have reported hearing what sounds like a baby crying from a dense thicket, only to see the lantern light glowing from the same spot. To go after the sound would mean wading into chest-deep water filled with cottonmouths and alligators. Hunters have heard a woman humming a soft, sad lullaby, a tune that seems to float on the night air and pull them deeper into the woods, away from the trail. But the most insidious trick is the one it played on Elias. The lantern man listens. It learns. It can replicate the voice of a person you love with horrifying accuracy. People who have had close calls and made it back report hearing their brother, their wife, their child, calling their name for help. And what's truly diabolical, what makes the hair on your arm stand up, is that it knows the small things. It won't just call John. It will use the nickname your mother gave you when you were a child, a name no one else knows. It uses your own love and memory as a weapon to lead you to your death. In the fall of 2019, two ambitious film students from a state university, Sarah and Ben, drove down to Blackwater Swamp. They were making a documentary for their thesis project, aiming to debunk local folklore. They came armed with high-definition cameras, audio equipment, and GPS trackers. They were going to be the ones to finally prove that the lantern man was nothing more than swamp gas or headlights from a distant road. They interviewed locals, who all told them the same thing: stay out of the swamp at night. They laughed it off. On their third night, they parked their car on a service road and went in. They were never seen again. A year later, a hunter found a camcorder half sunk in the mud, miles from where they had parked. The internal memory was corroded, but a forensic data recovery team managed to piece together fragments of the last recording. The video is shaky, filmed in night vision. It shows Ben and Sarah walking, their faces etched with a mix of excitement and fear. GPS is totally shot, Ben says. But look, see, they're at island. Just like they said. The camera pans across the black water to a single, bright orb of light, hovering. Definitely swamp gas, Sarah says, but her voice is trembling. The next recovered clip is an hour later. They are lost. Their voices are hushed, panicked. They keep talking about a voice they hear, a woman's voice. The light is closer now, brighter. The final recoverable fragment is just 30 seconds long. The camera is on the ground, pointing up at the canopy of cypress trees. Rain is falling. You can hear Sarah sobbing somewhere off-screen. Then, the lantern light descends into the frame, impossibly bright, swinging back and forth. It moves lower and lower, until it fills the screen with blinding white light. Then, a hand, pale and gaunt with long, dirty fingers, reaches in front of the light and pulls the lantern aside. For 3 seconds, you see a face. It is bone white, emaciated, with hollow cheeks and thin, gray lips. But its eyes are the worst part. They are wide, perfectly round, and black as the swamp water, reflecting the lantern's glow. The face stares down, directly into the camera lens, as if it knows you are watching. Then the video cuts to static.